record file number 2020-925-717-DP in the matter of Schuman versus Wilson. Counsel, go ahead if you want to place your appearance in the record.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ashley Sargent on behalf of Melissa Schuman, who is approaching to my right.
All right.
Good morning, Your Honor. Greg Wilson, appearing pro per.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sargent. All right, so folks, we set this today. You can take a seat, please. Regarding, I don't have the file. Hold on just a second, please. I know we have an issue with the schooling, or what school he's going to attend. Just a second, please. We also had a show cause that was filed. Ms. Sargent, anything you want to address as a preliminary matter?
Yes, Your Honor. I would just note for the court, at our last hearing, the court did request that both parties exchange at least 3 schools to see if they could come to an agreement, as well as 3 therapists. We did send actually 4 schools to Mr. Barron, as well as 3 therapists. We did not receive those back. I understand that he has since withdrawn. However, these issues continue. The defendant still absolutely refuses to exchange at Family Matters. He is still ignoring messages. They go unopened for days on end. Our impression is that he intends to refuse to take the minor child to school unless you rule with the school that he wants. Our understanding is that unless it's Kersley, he will not agree to anything else. Mom has been diligently trying to get this resolved. She has sent numerous communications with regards to getting their son enrolled, again, that go unopened, unanswered, ignored. She did apply for school of choice with Swartz Creek. That was accepted. She requests that school for numerous reasons in addition to the other schools that she requested. Some of the reasons for that request is she felt it would be convenient to both the parties because it is 18 and 20 minutes from each party. In addition to that, they offer programs for after school, which is essential for her work. Due to the lack of communication, the minor child did start in Swartz Creek this week simply because he would not have started anywhere unless she had moved forward with that. We are essentially asking that the order that you already have in place be enforced, that the parties start using Family Matters, again, which has been absolutely refused, that one of the therapists is utilized, that the assessments that you required of the parties occur, and that the minor child be able to continue in Swartz Creek would be our school of choice at this point, and that would be our request, and that's where we are at.
All right, Mr. Wilson, anything you want to address?
Yeah. Your Honor, as I stated, the reason I'm not able to go to Family Matters is a financial one. I know Your Honor described Family Matters as being a 3-foot putt, but right now my mom has just recently passed. I'm locked out of all assets. I have, I'm literally just trying to hang on to the house, everything of that nature.
Well, you're employed, sir, are you not?
I'm sorry?
You're employed, are you not?
I am, but it was on Family Medical Leave Act.
Okay.
And, my mom broke her hip in 2021 and had dementia. So, I was really locked down since 2021. I've been able to close some loans, but nothing like I would if I were actually able to go out and generate business. I also noted that can only go to a therapist who is covered by my insurance. And we've made that very clear to the court. And, you know, I realize that might not be the way it goes, but I'm limited to the resources that I have. But I was under the impression that today was only about schools.
The docket sheet said review hearing regarding school minor will attend and show cause hearing to be scheduled on a separate date. So, as far as the show cause goes, sir, I will advise you that you do have a right to a hearing on that matter. At that hearing, you would be entitled to, are you asking for civil or criminal contempt, Ms. Sargent?
Civil, Your Honor.
All right, so you're not entitled to an attorney, sir, but you would be entitled to have a hearing on that matter, to have any witnesses testify at that hearing in front of you and to question those witnesses. You'd have the right to the court order any witnesses for your defense to appear and provide his or her testimony. You have the right to have the case proven by a preponderance of the evidence, sir. You do not have the right against self-incrimination because it's civil contempt, sir. It's not criminal, so you may be compelled to testify against your own wishes. Do you understand all of your rights at this point in time, sir?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay.
You read me my rights last time. So.
Yeah, but you had an attorney here then, and I like to make sure we cover our bases.
Okay.
So we'll set the show cause hearing for a separate date at this point, folks, since that's what's indicated on the docket sheet. And to be fair, I believe that Mr. Wilson had an attorney representing him at the last hearing, and he doesn't today. And I think I like to give pro per some slack, folks, when I can in that regard. I mean, Mr. Wilson, anything else that you wish to address about the schooling or the therapy or family
Well,
matters?
Ms. Schumann sent me a text on our family was the parenting app. I did respond to it, and I asked her, I said, I just don't understand why you insist on Swartz Creek, because we went down this path for preschool, and I told her, it's logistics for me. It's just, you know, her babysitter lives apparently on the bus route, because in her response to me, she said, the reason I want Swartz Creek is because he can take the bus to his aftercare, where if he goes to Kersley, he could take the bus to and from school. There's actually been times where Ms. Schumann has asked me, hey, Angie, her babysitter, can't watch him. Can you watch him today? Well, if something like that happened, it wouldn't be an inconvenience for either of us, whoever's day it was. Swartz Creek, you know, when I drove it, it was 21 miles. It says when you map it out, it's 17, but when I drove it, it was 21. So it's 42 miles each day. Kersley for Ms. Schumann, Weston Elementary, is 7.1 miles for Ms. Schumann. Remington, you know, I know she won't take me up on this, but I offer, hey, he can simply come to my house after school, I'll take him and you can pick him up. It'll be no inconvenience for you. You won't even need aftercare on days that he would be there. Also, I received an email from Steering Elementary on August 19th.
From which
notifying all-
elementary school?
Steering Elementary for Swartz Creek.
Okay.
So it's SYRING. But the email said that their tenured kindergarten teacher had just quit, and they'll be using a substitute teacher while they search for a permanent teacher during the middle of a school year. You know, as far as school rankings, U.S. News and World Reports ranked Genesee County high schools. Fenton was number 1. Kersley was number 6. And Swartz Creek was number 11. That's based on graduation rates, testing scores, opportunities for underprivileged students. down to what I think is in Remington's best interest. You know, I was under the impression that today was just to determine schools. You know, I also enrolled him in Kersley. Ms. Schuman apparently contacted Kersley, said I already enrolled him in Swartz Creek. Kersley contacted the clerk's office. Clerk's office informed Kersley, well, they said, I guess that he should go to the school that starts first. If you get something from a judge, we can easily enroll him into Kersley again. So they have everything they need to enroll him into Kersley. Kersley started yesterday. And really, I guess that's about it. I think it's Kersley is convenient for both parties, more convenient for both parties. But I mean, we went down this road, and it's not that we don't agree on Swartz Creek. Once we were both made aware of University of Michigan early childhood development, we were both quick to agree. Great facilities, we both loved it. We both agreed we would both have loved to have gone there when we were a kid. But it's not that we are, you know, it's just in a intransigent position where she insists on Swartz Creek because it's near her babysitter. The only person it's more convenient for is Ms. Schuman. So, that is all I have, Your Honor.
Can I respond, Your Honor?
Sure.
Your Honor, Ms. Schuman proposed 5 schools when you required 3. We didn't receive any back, and the only school he's proposed the entire time to Ms. Schuman is an end-all be-all Kersley. I don't know what he's referencing as far as ranks with school, but certainly the research that I have from Ms. Schuman shows that Swartz Creek is actually listed as 6 and Flushing is listed as 5, which is also a school that she proposed, which was unanswered and ignored. And Kersley is significantly less than those. And I don't know if the court recalls, but I don't believe they had this beautiful agreement to start at U of M by any means. He actually started late because they could not agree on where he should go. And so it has always been a point of contention. Furthermore, the exchanges at Family Matters, and I don't know if you intend to address any of that today, are $30. And my understanding is they actually have a scholarship and or discount program, which Mr. Wilson hasn't even attempted to utilize because it just seems that if it's not his idea, he's not going to follow it. He's not going to follow it if Ms. Schuman suggests it. He's not going to follow it if you order it without a consequence. So that would be our continued request, and we would again ask that Swartz Creek is at least maintained until the court can make more determination at this point.
So what elementary would he attend at Kersley, folks?
Weston Elementary.
And Your Honor, my client did bring the research that she did if the court would like to review that.
Well, the only website I ever use, folks, is Michigan, State of Michigan's Department of Education, their data, because the court can use government resources, like, I can't remember what the language is off the top of my head, like, widely accepted, I don't remember what the language is off the top of my head, but anyway, folks, I find the state's data to probably be the most unbiased, right? Because they're just reporting things. I mean, I think all of this is off just in terms of, like, when schools report their student to teacher ratio, folks, I've looked up my own kids' schools before, and what's reported. So I'm just looking at 2 elementaries. Give me a second.
And Your Honor, I can forward you the email from Searing Elementary saying that their actual elementary school quit the day before the first day of school, and they're using a substitute teacher
Your Honor, this,
until they find a teacher.
I mean, folks, all of this is hearsay so far. What's,
in this, yeah, sorry, I'm so sorry.
it's okay, go ahead.
The substitute teacher that he's referencing is actually a teacher that's been employed with Swartz Creek for 3 years. She carries a master's degree. She's certainly not someone that isn't qualified to be in this position.
But they do reference in the email, they're looking for a permanent teacher. She is not going to be the elementary teacher.
So it doesn't look like for Weston Elementary folks that they've reported, according to the state, like progress or performance summary data. Doesn't look like we have it for Swartz Creek either at this point. They're relatively similar. Swartz Creek is a little bit ahead just in terms of, and by a little bit I mean really infinitesimal amounts, in terms of on-track attendance and qualified teaching staff, and I'm just looking at the parent dashboard for the state of Michigan folks. Pretty similar per pupil expenditures. So I'm not seeing any insane differences between the 2 at this point in time. Let's see if I can.
And Your Honor, I understand Mr. Wilson has a concern that there would be a change of teacher, but I'm curious if he even knows who the teacher would be if he went to Weston.
To answer her question, I do not know her name, but I know she's been the teacher, she's been a kindergarten teacher for years. And I do object to Ms. Sargent's characterization that I won't accept anything. I accept whatever, I've accepted whatever the court has come down with. And if you choose Swartz Creek, that's what it is.
And I disagree, Your Honor, or we would be using Family Matters for exchanges. The orders prior with therapy and psychological evaluations would have occurred.
Your Honor, as I made clear, as my attorney made clear, the reason I can't do Family Matters is there are 11 drop-off and pickups. At $17 a month, that still gets a car insurance payment to me.
Right, we did check, and there is money in the family counseling fund that we can pay for the child exchanges at Family Matters at this point. So the court would be willing to pay for 50% of those exchanges, and then I would expect the parties to pay for the remaining 50% at this point in time. And here's what I'm going to say about this moving forward, folks. The court's order is what it is. Exchanges are at Family Matters. If you don't show up, sir, you don't get your son. I appreciate, ma'am, that you've been flexible in terms of allowing the exchanges to continue outside of the court order at this point in time. But I'm going to be real clear about how I expect adherence to my orders moving forward. They're at Family Matters. End of discussion. That's what I ordered months ago.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So the court will pay
I'm
50.
supposed to pick up my son tomorrow. I don't know if I can get everything they need done by tomorrow.
I don't know what they need to have done, sir.
Well, they told me they need all orders regarding transportation, which include no third-party transfers, Mr. Spivey's not to be there, or I guess the actual wording in the order is no significant others.
And all of that has been submitted by Ms. Schuman 4 months ago, and this order went into place.
So they shouldn't need double copies, sir.
Well, when I spoke with them, they did not have that information.
Who provides, I know, so Mr. Wilson, you provide health insurance for Remington?
He's on Medicaid,
Okay.
Ms. Schuman, but I'm on Medicaid.
Okay, so then what was your concern about, because you said, I thought, and I could have misunderstood, I thought you said that you couldn't have him going to a therapist that your insurance doesn't
No,
cover.
I said I have to go to a therapist that my insurance covers.
Okay.
I think you may be referring to the psychological.
Okay, are you talking about like the Dr. Wooten recommendations there?
That and also the child therapy. I know during the therapy, you told us we might have difficulty finding a therapist. You told us you did not want him missing school, so we had to find a therapist who maybe had appointments available on weekends. And you also were very clear in that they must accept his insurance.
And
Well-
he did propose 3 that accept his insurance.
Okay, so, well, and folks, I mean, and I appreciate your attention to detail, sir, but when I say these things as far as like, of course I don't want him missing school, but also too, folks, there has to be some flexibility from everybody at this point in time. I mean, I wouldn't want him necessarily missing hours of instruction every week or every other week to attend a noon therapy appointment, obviously, but in the same token, I trust your judgment as parents as to what is in his best interest at that point to a certain, obviously, but he needs to be in therapy at this juncture. Sir, did you look into any therapist or look at the list of 3 that Ms. Schuman provided?
I know through Mr. Barron, we provided a couple of therapists that took his insurance. But I mean, it's not that I have refused to. I spoke to a former client of mine who's an attorney, and he told me, you know what, you might have to plead as impossibility, which is, I've never heard of that. But
Me either.
you've never heard of it either? You've never heard of it, but he said you may have to plead impossibility because I simply don't have the resources.
But I'm not focusing right now, sir, on your resources. Remington has health insurance, folks. Medicaid will pay for therapy.
Right. But the therapist Ms. Schuman proposed did not take his insurance.
That's all 3 new, I've already submitted it, they're waiting on you to make an order or him to agree.
Ms. Sargent, do you have the list of 3?
I do. I have, and correct me if I say this wrong.
Elizabeth Grief, she's certified in play therapy and sand therapy, and she's dual licensed in Michigan and Florida, and has been a therapist for an obscene amount of years. Also, Deborah Carter and Hunter Dumas. They're all at the same place, they all accept Medicaid.
And what facility is it, ma'am?
Elizabeth is out of Grand Blanc, the other 2 are Fenton.
No, I meant what's the umbrella?
I believe it's Creekside
Okay.
Counseling Center.
Sir, did you look into any of those?
I did. Well, did I look into those? No. I mean, at that time, I had an attorney. And I know, I was dealing primarily with Mr. Barron's paralegal, who quit the Friday before our hearing. So I kind of got cut off on what was going on.
Do you recall what therapist you were proposing, sir?
I know I communicated it to Ms. Schuman through our family wizard. I would have to look it up, and it would take me some time to do that. Unfortunately, my computer's down and wasn't able to print out these things, and I was told that I had to provide these written materials 7 days in advance. So
Ms. Sargent, you indicated you didn't get any.
I did not, Your Honor, and I have the email correspondence showing that I've sent him these three, and requesting that I receive the information back. And while I can understand and sympathize that Mr. Barron is no longer on this file, Mr. Wilson just said that he was given the therapist that we provided, and he's never tried to discuss this with Ms. Schuman to get this resolved.
Your Honor, Ms. Schuman refuses to talk to me. I would talk to Ms. Schuman. Ms. Schuman will only communicate, and when you look at our communications, everything is threatening, it's about court. My attorney had advised me, do not communicate with her about anything regarding court. So I followed the advice of counsel. Maybe it was bad advice, I don't know.
And I'll just reiterate, in the last hearing, his attorney actually requested that we not make any communication regarding the litigation and things that are pending matters. However, at that point when he was in pro per, she's simply trying to get things resolved at a minimal, without going above and beyond, because your recommendation last time was not to communicate with regards to those things.
And, you know, when Ms. Schuman says she provided a list of all these schools, you know, Novi, that's not realistic. The schools she proposed were not accepting students at that time. I proposed Davison 1, Goodrich, and Kersey. And Davison shut down their schools of choice in May. And I don't remember exactly when Goodrich shut it down, but, you know, I was, you know, the more I thought about it, Kersley made the most sense because he could take the bus whenever, you know, I could take him on days that, you know, I could take him and he could take the bus to and from. They said they drop him off right at the end of the driveway, pick him up at the end of the driveway.
Right, so folks, what we're gonna have to do is set this for a full-blown evidentiary hearing regarding what school Remington should attend. I think I was hopeful of that, and I apologize, folks, this fell off our radar, and Mr. Wilson, I'm so sincerely sorry for the loss of your mother. I know how difficult that is. I had hoped we would get back in here before school started. That obviously didn't happen due to factors beyond anybody's control. But we're gonna need to have a full-blown evidentiary hearing where parties can bring in any witnesses they wish to present, any evidence they wish to present, for the court to make a full-blown decision regarding that, because the court has to do this based upon what I believe to be in Remington's best interest. So at this point, my hands are a little bit tied just in terms of he started school at Swartz Creek, so that's where he's gonna continue for right now. But that being said, folks, as much as I hate to say this, I'm gonna have to keep a very open mind to the concept of just transitioning him from one school to another in the middle of the year, or hopefully at the beginning of the fall when we get you back in here, folks, which is not something I would love to do, but I want you to know I'm just gonna keep a very open mind about that process at this point, because I think that's the only fair thing to do. And I'll give everybody 48 hours to submit to the court the names of 3 therapist folks, and then I will get you a decision I am out of the office on Friday, folks, so I will get you a decision by Tuesday at the latest, hopefully.
How do I submit information?
You can email them to my staff, sir.
Where would I find your staff email?
The same email from 415 that came, the order that came, you respond to her.
Yes.
Or Miss Sargent, do you have my secretary's email?
Yes.
If you could write it down, I would appreciate it, or
Thank you, Ashley.
And you'd like us to use Kristen's, correct?
yes, please.
Okay. Do you want to jot this down, or would you like to?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're doing it off your phone.
Yep, it's KABT@GeneseeCountyMI.gov.
GeneseeCountyMI.gov. And I will make a decision based on what's ever submitted to me within the next 48 hours, folks, so that's sometime on Thursday,
Do we
right?
have to resubmit what we already sent?
I don't think I'd have it, Ms. Sargent, so if you wouldn't mind
Oh,
sending
yeah.
that list to Kristen, I would appreciate it. And then I'll pick a therapist from there, folks, if you don't come to an agreement in the next 48 hours. And so what my order is gonna reflect, folks, is that this will be set for a full-blown evidentiary hearing regarding the issues of what school Remington should attend and the show cause that's been filed. He will continue at Swords Creek Schools for the time being. This isn't gonna be a part of the order, folks, I'm just gonna stress, I'm gonna be very open to the idea of transitioning him out of there and sending him to another school at some point, because I don't think that this process has been, I'm not blaming anybody, folks, but obviously I don't want anyone to feel that they have been, I don't know what expression I want is, unfairly prejudiced because he's starting at Swartz Creek School. So I'm just going to emphasize that I'm going to keep a very open mind about where he should attend school, what is going to be best suited for him, folks. I'm just going to caution you as far as what's admissible evidence coming in with outside sources such as, you know, the Princeton rankings for universities or U.S. World News and Report, or if you Google, you'll come up with 20 different websites that purport to rank schools. Those are not admissible unless you bring whoever created it in to testify as to how they created this, what their methodology was, and that yes, this is something that they've created and they can authenticate it. They're not going to be admissible. The only thing that's probably admissible without further authentication is going to be something from the state of Michigan, folks, because that's considered to some extent, because it's a government document, it's considered to some extent, in my opinion, based upon the Michigan Rules of Evidence, a self-authenticating document. It's something that the government created, and therefore it has like an indicia of trustworthiness. I put that in quotes, folks, because that's the language used in the court rules. So if you, and I'm not presuming what anybody's going to do, folks. It's just that after 20 years, I've done a lot of these schools hearings. I know what people try to bring in. But that type of stuff is not admissible. I know Ms. Sargent will object if it will object. And likewise, I would object on Mr. Wilson's behalf if Ms. Sargent tried to submit something of that nature, because those websites are not reliable. They're not authenticated in any way, shape, or form, folks, without having the person. I apologize.
Is it fair to say that you would only accept the site that you're using?
No, sir, it's not, if you can authenticate whatever else you want to bring in. That's my point, is under the Michigan Rules of Evidence, it has to be it would be essentially considered a business record, would be my take on it. And business records have to be authenticated by the person who created them, or they are considered inadmissible hearsay.
So it's pretty difficult to bring in the author of an article, though, so.
I've seen it happen before on occasion. There is a gentleman out of Eastern Michigan University, folks. Oh gosh, his name just left me. I want to say it starts with an F. He has a he has a doctorate in some form of education, I believe. And what he does now, in part, he's testified in front of me a couple of times, is he essentially gets hired by parties to do school comparisons, where he will compare numerous districts and tell you which one, in his opinion, based upon his years of training and expertise, would be better for a child to attend. I'm not saying go hire him, don't misunderstand. My long-winded point being, my recollection from his testimony is that he uses information solely from the state of Michigan. Like, he doesn't use outside sources. He only uses information that comes from the Michigan Department of Education. And he does a really in-depth report. I'm not telling you to go hire him, folks, because I'm sure he is not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. But my recollection is that he only uses information straight from the Michigan Department of Education. But I could be wrong about that. So I'm just trying to save us some time, Mr. Wilson, in terms of streamlining the process when we come back for a full-blown evidentiary hearing, because I don't want anyone to come in thinking that they're gonna completely rely on X, Y, and Z for their case and then get here and find out it's not admissible. I don't think that's, I'm just trying to give people a heads up so that the process is as fair as possible. So like I said, folks, 48 hours to provide me with the names of 3 therapists that you would like for Remington to work with. And moving forward, all exchanges have to be at Family Matters, as I previously ordered last May.
Your Honor,
Yes,
may I ask for?
you can ask whatever you want, sir.
May I ask for, tomorrow to be done at Meyer because?
No,
I don't know.
you've had since April, sir. I've been extraordinarily patient on this point.
No, I understand the patience. It's a matter of, can they get me in?
My office will contact them and provide them, see what they need and provide them with anything we can. I'll go do it right now, see if we can get a hold of somebody. But, I mean, it's been since April, folks. I've been pretty clear on this point as to where I wanted exchanges to occur, and the court is willing to chip in some funds in order to make that more possible for everybody. I do understand financial difficulties. But I've been pretty clear on this point since April, folks.
But like I said, I've made it clear, it's not financial difficulty, it's financial impossibility, so.
Well, sir, if you don't have $15 to pay for an exchange, how are you feeding Remington? Do I have other concerns that should be brought to my attention?
It's 15, you're paying for the whole month.
Okay.
15 times 11.
So the court will contact Family Matters at this point and see if they will be willing to start exchanges tomorrow, with the understanding that the court will front the first month's fee from the family counseling fund.
Thank you.
And, I mean, we'll have to try to get hold of somebody. We'll work as quickly as we can on our end too, folks.
So how will I be notified?
I would recommend contacting them immediately, sir, and
Well,
seeing
no,
what they
I
need.
mean, so I'm waiting for the court to do what it's gonna do.
You're gonna have to work simultaneously with us, sir. I wouldn't wait for us to do anything. I'm gonna
So
go back to
I'm
my.
not gonna hear from the court, just simply contact Family Matters.
Yes, sir.
Have you heard from Judge Heath?
I wouldn't even say, have you heard from Judge Heath, sir? I would say, this has been the order of the court. What else do you need from me? The judge told me we have to start exchanging there tomorrow. And we'll contact them as well and see what they need and indicate that the court has agreed to front the first month of payment for the fees, and that moving forward, it'll be a 50% payment from the court and the parties are to exchange whatever's left. And sir, like I said, Family Matters, is my understanding, does things on a sliding scale. If you tell them that there's financial impossibility or difficulty, I don't know what they'll tell you as far as what the cost would be. But my understanding has always been that they do things on a sliding scale.
Well, they told me what the sliding scale was, but it didn't slide low enough. It's still, when you pay 11 times.
Any other?
Right now, I'm juggling things, getting things out of my mom's name into my name. I can't believe how much there is to do when you lose a parent. And
It's a lot, for sure.
it's, my resources have been shut off because her account is shut off. So,
I mean, sir, are you back to
I'm-
work full-time, or
no,
what's?
I'm still on the Family Medical Leave Act. I'm waiting for my employer to remove me from Family Medical Leave Act. I've been waiting for a while. And when they put me on Family Medical Leave Act, they took away my credentials for my computer.
Sure,
So
makes sense.
I couldn't do anything because I'm a loan officer. But
Okay, well, I'm gonna go contact Family Matters right now, folks, and we'll get that ball rolling, okay?
Thank you, Your
All right,
Honor.
and we'll get the order drafted as soon as possible so I can sign it.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, the therapy is for Remington that I'm looking for in the next.
For right now,
meeting.
we'll address the issue of Dr. Wooten at a later date, folks. And to make matters clear, folks, I don't think anybody's insurance is gonna cover what I asked you to do with Dr. Wooten. That's not that's not something that anybody's health insurance is gonna cover.
Insurance.
I don't care whether you have a Cadillac Blue Cross Blue Shield plan or Medicaid, so.